Good evening and welcome to Going for Two. This is the only YouTube podcast in human recorded history to feature a male and female host drinking our way through the important topics of the day, as long as they touch the football world and not in that way. I am Zach Law and this is Sharona Stormborn. This week, Sharona brings the beer and I bring the guest. Haha. So, before we get to officially going with the guest, Sharona, what do you got tonight? Are you bringing the A game when it comes to the beer?
I'm bringing the A game. I did have a glass of wine as I was watching history being made a little while ago, and in honor of that, and having the fantastic Jen on the show again, and of course getting to hang out with my buddy Zach, I went with the Old Faithful Dragon's Milk.
Nice, and I picked up a few more bottles, so I got the Wild Heaven Dionysus. The beautiful beer that combines two of my loves, a quad and a sour, together. It's just glorious beer, not a every night drinking beer, but a Tuesday night special show night. Because I'm heading to Nashville this weekend, actually tomorrow, and there could be a Going for Two reunion in Nashville. So tonight, we're bringing back Jen Ryan, who is a rising star in the fantasy industry, throwing fire-hot takes at football diehards and on Sirius radio. Contrary to rumors, she has neither an Ezekiel Elliott jersey nor a tattoo. She also was my co-host on the one and only Zach on YouTube video, in which we had a timely discussion about the TV show Oz. Jen, have you recovered from the cancellation of Togetherness?
I have. They have a development deal with HBO, so I'm excited to see what's next for them. But I enjoyed it, and I was a little sad it was canceled, but I've recovered.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about doing a second version of the show about Togetherness, although since there are only 4 major characters, doing a draft like we did with Oz would have been a little difficult. And now us talking about Togetherness is like when Sharona wants to talk about gaming. She got her eye. I see the rolling of the eyes. If you want to watch a show all the way through, why not watch a show like Togetherness that had like 2 seasons of 10 episodes, like half hour? Go for it.
It's an easy commitment, really easy commitment.
And it's I don't know. I think it did. It kind of did what it did, and yeah, those guys are gonna do it again. I didn't realize that those were the brothers, like the guy who's the brother on Transparent, and then the guy who was like the lead character on The League, which I really should have liked because it was about fantasy football, but it was just the awful people doing awful things. And I think I was the only fantasy football person who did not like that show. Couldn't watch it. So I hear, because you're big time, that you're doing this live draft in DC with Jake Seeley. So what's happening with that?
Yeah, it was kind of like a last minute thing, but I'm really excited for it. I wouldn't say I'm big time, but it's some draft down. It's his draft, actually, Flex League draft it's called, and it's down in Washington D.C. And I'm actually embarrassed to admit I've never been to Washington D.C.
Oh, you'll love it.
I know, and I live so close, and I'm like, it's the nation's capital. I'm ashamed, really, but.
Are you gonna fly? Or are you gonna take the train?
I'm actually gonna take the train. I'm really excited.
Yeah, you should. Cool. I've done that. That's a great trip. You'll love it.
I'm excited. I booked a seat, a little further up so I could be near the booze car and everything. Yeah. It's like a 3.5 hour, make a Friday night of it. So yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to because some of the people in the draft, I feel like I'm like huge fans of them, like this like nerdy like super fan, So I'm gonna try to keep that in check when I meet some of these people. But I'm excited to meet people, I guess, too.
Yeah, it's cool when you go from the 2D to 3D and you get to meet people in person. So
like you, Zach. I loved meeting you.
Well, it's funny. Last night I was talking with my wife and she's like, we should try to set up so we can go to New York like once a year because we like going to shows and stuff. I'm like, there we go. Gonna hang out and drink wine with Jen again.
It was awesome.
Definitely. So a story I read today, we have to get our Cowboys fix in. So the Cowboys have built or are building a $1.5 billion training facility that includes a 12,000 capacity high school football stadium, which, by the way, sounds really small in the state of Texas, What is the deal with the Cowboys and all this cash money?
Well, Jerry Jones. I mean, aren't they the most valuable franchise in sports in general? I mean, he's turned it into a serious cash cow. But I had mentioned to you earlier, whether you're a Cowboys fan or not, it's kind of worth it to check out they have like a virtual tour. It's the Frisco facility. I mean, he literally built like a little town kind of. There's going to be retail, top-notch restaurants. I'm dying to go. I've never been to Dallas. Now I feel like I absolutely have to get down there. It's just like this massive facility. It's supposed to be state-of-the-art. I understand the stadium is pretty state-of-the-art too. But yeah, the money comes from Jerry, of course.
Yeah. If you're going to go down there and meet up with the street free agent, we won't use his name for legal purposes. Yeah, party time.
Total bucket list item, by the way. Big time.
I mean, it really is unique. You go to a Titans game, you're like, I'm standing in a football stadium. But you go to Dallas or wherever the hell it is, because I don't even know if it's actually in Dallas, the stadium.
Arlington, yeah.
It's a big state, So I got a new mic here, so if I sound different this week, I apologize. But that's the way it goes in the semi-professional world. So the Cowboys drafted a linebacker with a broken knee in the second round, and half their defense has been suspended for drugs in the past month. So does this make your Tony Romo, fantasy upside even that much more valuable this year?
I mean, you'd have to think so, but and I hate to make this argument because I know people criticize it. I don't think Ezekiel Elliott's necessarily good for the defense, but I do think he's going to limit the defense's time on the field.
Yeah.
If they follow that formula from 2014, I think we'll see the Cowboys defense, is actually pretty good. And
yeah, they've got some nice players on there. Mm-hmm.
A lot of their, inefficiencies were masked by the limited time they were on the field. But my God, that defense had a wild summer, and it's really starting to upset me. It's just starting to piss me off, to be honest with you.
I'm really sad about the Randy Gregory news. It just, it just made me sad.
I'm just not surprised. Everything. I'm not surprised. I'd be surprised if Dan Bailey caught a drug charge. I'd be like, wow, the hell was Dan Bailey doing? But I see Randy Gregory, and I'm like, well, yeah, of course he failed the drug test, or 5 of them, or whatever the hell he was doing.
Yeah. I interviewed him at the draft a couple of years ago, and he
seems so sweet.
He is. I mean, it was a great interview, and he's very engaging and personable. Addiction is something that we need to treat much differently in this country, in my opinion. And of course, if it is weed, and that looks like what it is, weed is utilized. It's not just a recreational drug. It does help with anxiety and social anxiety and personal anxieties, and the perception is changing, and I hope that we seem to be seeing a trend, and it's just kind of concerning.
Sure, and I mean, I'm not in charge, but I'd rather see these guys cope with a stressful day with maybe a joint after work instead of like a liter of vodka. But we don't have a say in these
or with
rational
other pain.
things.
Yeah, or with other pain.
Sure, they'll give them out like Pez. They'll give candy, candy pills out basically.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Romo. I mean, he gets pain-killing injections before games. It's terrible for your kidneys, but if he smokes a joint at a 4th of July barbecue, it's over.
Yeah. Well, who was it that came out? And there are a lot of stories coming out now, talking about how freely available pain medications and whatnot were. And I talk a lot about the Jason Taylor story. I don't know if you had a chance to read that, Jen. I'll send you the link to it.
Definitely. Send it to me.
What Jason Taylor went through to stay on the field is disgusting. And far, far, far worse than some dude out here smoking a joint in the privacy of his own home.
I totally agree. But, maybe when my grandkids are watching football, it'll be different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was our our own Steve McNair, like, wasn't his wife a nurse, and he had to be
Mhm.
like on IV and basically had to
Yeah.
sleep like sitting up because of all the
Yeah. She
injuries he
had to
had.
help him in and out of bed, and yeah.
There was I can't think of his name, but he was a tight end for the Broncos, and he wrote a book about it, about
I think it was
after,
Nate Jackson, maybe. I know he's
Yeah.
a name
maybe.
I've heard, but
I have it in my Amazon wish list. It's on there for something to read, but it was basically about, painkillers and, how bad they really are.
Yeah. Well, there's I think still a lawsuit pending over it. Class action lawsuit.
There should be.
Yeah, there is, or there was. I don't think that they've settled it. I'd have to look.
I mean, it's possible that like marijuana will be legalized in this country, but it will still be like a suspendable offense in professional sports leagues for a few years.
Well,
They seem to be a little
listen,
behind on that.
Listen, I hate to defend the NFL, but until the federal government stops, and they have moved under Obama, have moved in a much better direction, but until they stop overriding and some states have legalized it, but it's still federally, it's still prosecuted. And so, I think the NFL is waiting for there to be some consistency across the board.
Yeah, that would be nice because you see these stories about like in Colorado where they've legalized it, but it's still like this cash only business, so they have to hire like security companies because they're basically just running around with a bunch of cash because banks won't take their money.
Yeah, it's
Because
crazy.
they could get busted at any time, and it's a weird in between moment we're in right now.
It's definitely changing, and you're seeing the federal government move in a more cooperative manner toward what the states are doing, but justice does not move quickly.
So Jen, you're drinking something out of a straw. So what's the beverage of the evening?
It's a cider.
It's a cider.
It's an Angry Orchard, which is
Oh, I love Angry Orchard.
It's a special. Apparently, it's a limited edition. I have it right here.
By the way, you're getting video bombed by your cat.
Oh no! I mean, he's cute, so he can sit there.
He's very cute.
It's just embarrassing. Let's see if I can get. He might get mad at me. Hey, bud. Go ahead. Nah. But thanks for pointing that out. But yeah, this is like a pear, and it's 6.5% alcohol. So less trips to the bathroom. Perfect.
I forget what is Dragon's Milk is what 11.3.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm trying to see. This is 10.5.
So like, how many of those can you like put back in a setting? I guess.
Last year's Going for Two draft featured 2 and some brandy, and it got ugly.
Oh my gosh, that was so.
I was
I'm
drunk.
wondering. Like you mentioned before, you were talking about like maxing out on leagues. Like we did the Going for Two auction
last year.
The best part about the Going for Two auction was that it was like a best ball. So we did the draft and we're done. That's what I like. I'm doing the King of the Hill, which is another Scott Fish league, and it's like the Scott Fish Bowl except it's best ball. So you
Which
just draft your
awesome.
team.
Yeah.
And you hope nobody gets hurt. Like you hope nobody Jordy Nelsons or Calvin Benjamins in the next month. I mean, I just saw today like Junior Gillette as a linebacker for Washington like tore his Achilles, and it's like that just stuff happens. So you have to dodge the fantasy bullets. But so that's the quandary that I'm in because I want to do like a league to replace that local league I got out of, but then my dad's like, hey, you want to do a family league? I'm like, how do I get all these people in and do like one? But I don't know. People still like the setting the lineup every week. I don't know. I'm not very good at it. Maybe if I ask Jen, she'll give me some help this year.
And I finally last year some point was like, I've got to create a spreadsheet so I can keep up with all of this crap because I wasn't sure which leagues were best ball and which weren't, and so once I did that it got easier, but it just weighed on my mind and just wading through everything and sorting through everything. And then I had done a lot of those mock drafts. My email inbox, I would get like 200 emails every week, and I became frightened of my email. I was like, I don't want to see my email, and so Yeah, I just, I said I can't do that to myself again. First of all, it makes me a terrible fantasy football player, not just in the win-loss column, but overall, and not being responsive and all of that. And I didn't want that this year. I just didn't.
Well, I think the point in a fantasy league is you want to have that good competition, but you want to be able to have that smack talk. And
Yeah.
having the people that you've played with for years is very important. Like that local league that I just left, the first year we did a live draft, it was like 2 days after the commissioner's daughter was born, and she just had her 15th birthday. It's kind of weird. It's like, oh yeah,
Oh wow.
we actually, one of the owners, the only reason he was at the draft is because his wife didn't know about it, and they were in town for the daughter being born. And like he was in the league for like 2 years without telling his wife he was in a fantasy league, and finally he dropped out. Obviously, you don't want that, but that's what happens. So Jen, have you been in one of those slow Scott Fish Bowl drafts? Have you finished?
Jen and I are in a draft right now.
Yes, that's an ongoing MFL 10. But
Of course, there's the MFL 10 is always ongoing, right?
There's that. But I'm actually trying to pull up my leagues now. I am totally in the Scott Fish Bowl, which I remember last year just being in it for the first time, and I was like so excited. I mean, obviously, I was so excited. I was like, I can't believe like I was able to play in it last year, and then like getting to play in it a second time. It's like it's 480 people in it. It feels like the coolest league that I'm in, and there's not even much skin in the game, But took your boy Ezekiel Elliott with the first pick in that. He's one of my, I think, two.
You had the number one pick?
No. In the first round, I took him.
So I took him. I had the second pick overall, and I took him just because running backs were valuable. And I'm Evan Silvaing all over the place because he's the guy who's like, he's the number one. I'm like, okay, fine.
He did. He made a statement when he ranked him as his top. But yeah, I'm trying to check. I think I had like the 8th pick or something. And it's one of my 2 Ezekiel Elliott shares. I don't have many at all. Obviously, I have 2.
Well, I did an MFL 10 before the draft, and I think Ezekiel Elliott went in the 3rd round. And I don't think he really drops out of the first anymore. I mean, it's like Sigmund Bloom will say, because I'd like to name drop. It's not even really that much of a push to take him in the first round, and I don't think anyone's going to make fun of you either, because running back's tough. I mean, running back is being devalued. But a guy, what was the joke they were making about Darren McFadden? It was like they were talking about Darren McFadden being like Jamie Lee Curtis running away from the bad guy in Halloween, kept running into things, but she kept getting away. It was like Darren McFadden
that's mean.
Didn't quite know what he was doing, and he had never
kind of
really
like Chris Henry.
Career, but because that offensive line is so good, and they got like a first round guard as a free agent last year to add to the line, like they probably have 7 starter caliber players there. That's what the Titans want to be, is what the Cowboys are. So yeah, with a guy like Ezekiel Elliott who apparently can pass block and catch passes, and he's all that in a bag of chips.
He's a fantastic talent. There's no question.
Sure, and I mean, fantasy, obviously, what I need is the 17 plus touches a game, but for my real life team, what I need is our 4th quarter lead not to be blown, because you have this rookie out there just like hammering the defense. Like that's what I need to happen. That's the successful formula. So that's what I'm hoping for. Hate that his name is in the news right now, for many reasons. Obviously, I just hate that that's even going on, and obviously hope nothing's has any merit, but of course that it doesn't affect playing time or anything like that either.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened, because I heard the story, and it was like he was accused of domestic violence, and there were pictures of bruises and stuff, and then the story came out that there were no witnesses, so it's like you really don't know what's happening with that.
The controversy is just like, on a football level, it's unneeded. On a real life level, this better not be true because I will like lose my mind after everything we dealt with kind of last season with Greg Hardy. Now this, I can't handle it.
That's true. In terms of like player off the field issues, the karma has not gone your way for a while.
No, it hasn't. I need a good guy like Troy, and it's not happening. I mean, there's some good guys, but they're my veterans who aren't like total knuckleheads. But you know, I need something to fall in our direction. It's been rough the last year and a half or so.
I heard a cat. Whose cat? Is that your cat?
Not mine. Not mine.
Mine are at the door, but they aren't banging on it tonight.
My cats are not in here. They wanted to be so desperately, but they're banned.
Not allowed in?
They're not allowed in during showtime. No, because they're little monsters who want all the attention.
That's how it goes.
I love them so much, though. They miss me. I was gone last week. I was, well, I mean, I came and checked in and made sure everything was okay and cleaned their poop bins and what have you. But I can confirm they definitely miss me because the first thing that happened when I walked in the door Friday night was Smokey and Bandit fighting each other to get to me first. It was like, wow! Oh, God.
So
nice.
cute, though.
Oh, they are so cute.
Did forget to say that Angry Orchard is like a mainstream like cider, but I've heard really good things. Like there's a local.
I like it. I drink it.
Local beer guy who does like ratings, and he did like the best ciders, and I swear like 5 Angry Orchard made it. And
they switch it up. They have like a bunch of different ones. It's
they
not
have like 12 varieties.
They've got a
green
they got
apple
a hot
one.
pepper. They got a hot pepper cider that I like. It's really good.
They sell a party pack too, and it's like a 24 pack with like, you know, a couple of each or whatever. But this one that I'm drinking tonight, it's called Naughty Pear. Never heard of it. It's very good.
So it's like pear flavored?
Pear flavored. Yep. It says it is apple pear.
Okay. Bear
Bear with me on this. Cardamom, aged on a white oak, whatever the hell that means.
Oh,
I just know it
fancy.
Oak aged. Yeah, that's one thing I like at the local beer stores. You can get that mixed 6-pack. So I think I bought like 6 different types of the Angry Orchard and let my wife try them out and found her favorite. And you know, she drinks like one every 2 weeks because her rate is a little bit lower than mine. So even though Sharona's already talked smack about this, I'm going to go ahead and do some quotes from the Why Your Team Sucks that Deadspin did for the Titans.
Well, before we say that, I just have to say I, too, get the mix-a-pack. And the Kroger now, locally, the local Kroger, also sells wine. So Sharona is a happy Kroger shopper now.
Wow.
Please, feel free. Go ahead.
Welcome to the present. Yeah, I know. Tennessee. It's come a long way.
Huh.
Okay, so this is the annual Your Team Sucks on Deadspin, which is good because, you know, every team gets represented. So here's a quote. Your coach, Mike Mularkey, what the fuck? You weren't supposed to keep him. Holy underwear. What a disaster. I'm not even a Titans fan, and I'm angry. I'm kind of with him on that one. You know, interim coach goes 2-7, and, yeah. They hire him full time. Oh, but this is good because we'll all like this one. The only job I'd hire Mularkey for is to play a concerned dad on SVU.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
They they had some fun. He had some fun with Mike Mularkey. By the way, his last name is Mularkey. You know, imagine what he went through in school. I mean, don't you know that all the kids were just awful to him because of his last name? Hey, you Malarkey, you're just nothing but a bunch of malarkey. You know, I'd love to interview Mike Malarkey and talk to him about what he went through when he was in school.
He seems like an adorable old man. I kind of feel bad for him.
I like him. I think that, you know, I mean, people talk about his record. He was with the Bills and the Jaguars, for fuck's sake. Pardon my French. I don't know that he ever was put in an opportunity to be all that successful. I don't know that the Titans have done that. We'll see. But, you know, I think he gets way too much hate.
The Titans. Mainly just death, stupidity, and beating the Buffalo Bills. And sadly, he made that quote about beating the Buffalo Bills, and they lost to the Bills last year. So
Yeah.
Oh,
pretty much
jeez.
death and stupidity because he had to bring up the Steve McNair, and of course the bizarre end of Rob Baronis, like road rage and
Yeah.
crashing into a tree like a year
That
after
was
he
sad.
retired.
That's
Like,
another one where Deadspin kind of had like a really interesting story uh, about that whole Rob Baronis accident. I feel like Deadspin gets all the, I don't know, the different angles, but God, that was so weird, wasn't it?
That was a very weird thing,
Sad, very sad, but weird.
and I know his mother, and
Oh,
she was devastated, and my heart just, I need to touch base with her and see how she's doing. It's just, I can't even imagine what she's been going through.
that's awful. Especially,
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine too awful that you have people talking about it on TV and stuff.
he had a pretty young family.
We seem to forget, and I know that it's all about clicks and ha-has and all of that, but we seem to forget that there are real people behind these things, with families and, yeah. Anyway, sorry, I'll just
But
sit over here and drink my beer and shut up.
if we go to a Titans game, we go back a way that's not on the interstate. We actually drive by the building where Steve McNair was killed, and my
Yeah.
mom has to point out every time because that's just what she does. So it's
Yeah.
just, yeah, we have some
It was
weird history
trap.
about the team.
Yeah, the Titans players had a trap condo down in downtown Nashville.
Not just Dallas, other teams do this. Yeah,
Well, it's
not just the Coke Cowboys from the '90s. All the good days.
They were good days, all right? 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
well,
They were great.
yeah.
Yeah, it would be kind of fun to have Jen and my dad talk about Neil
Who
O'Donnell.
was
That'd be a
it?
good one right there.
Somebody. Oh,
Road
it was
Super
Brett
Bowl.
Favre that just said that Roger Staubach was his favorite quarterback and his hero and whatever growing up, and I was like, oh, Roger Staubach.
I mean, he's the reason. He's the reason I'm a Cowboys fan. I mean,
Yeah.
my mother's from Queens. I mean, she lives in giant Jet country, and her and her father are big Staubach fans, and that's why I'm a Cowboys fan. And I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled about that.
He was a god in our household. Of course, I lived in Texas, but still, at that point, and Roger Staubach, Danny White. Danny White, I had the biggest crush on Danny White. Too Tall Jones, uh, Randy White, Hollywood Henderson, all those guys. It's just, anyway.
My first real life Cowboys crush was Jay Novacek.
Okay.
That was my first one.
Nice one. Yeah, I feel like the Danny White era, it seemed like they got to the NFC Championship game like 6 times. They couldn't quite get over the hump. Gee, you only have to deal with your 5 titles, that's all you got. Sorry.
For forever, I just looked down on any quarterback who couldn't punt the ball as well. I mean, how lame was that?
That's true, yeah. Randall Cunningham was a punter back in the day. I even think Tom Brady, Mr. Suspension, did a little quick kick once. It worked out pretty well. But okay, so this is for Jen. So as members of the Scott Fish Bowl, where it's quarterback flex, so every quarterback hashtag all quarterbacks matter. How exciting will it be in Week 5 when people spend all their free agent bucks to pick up Matt Cassell?
Wait. What do you mean in Week 5 pick him up?
I'm making a joke about Mariota getting hurt and then Matt Cassell being the starter and people going crazy to pick him up because he's a quarterback with a pulse.
You think he's gonna get hurt? He's like 22 years old. He's a baby. He's I have to be honest with you. I expect Mariota to kind of take that like Derek Carr, Blake Bortles-esque second-year leap for you guys. I think he looked super comfortable as a rookie. Honestly, I mean, I would love that out of a. God forbid when I have to deal with a rookie quarterback. I hope it closely resembles Marcus Mariota's rookie season.
I've got a really interesting stat on Marcus Mariota that I'm going to be talking about in my podcast tomorrow morning. Statistically, and I know he missed some games, but his rookie season was pretty amazing, and I hope that he can stay healthy. And I'm very excited to see what they do this year.
He's smart too, and I think that helps with a quarterback like a lot. To be honest with you, he has brains, and I think that goes about as far as his athletic ability does too. I give that a lot of weight when it comes to quarterback.
Yeah.
I feel like he could challenge Russell Wilson pretty soon in the Peyton Manning Award for most boring kind of press conference, like in a few years.
He's very
Mariota is very
polite.
much like, do you know anything about his personal life? No, because he just lives football. Like, he was in that Chip Kelly system and ran it to perfection. And
Guys, that's a good thing. You don't want anybody.
He's not having the off season after his rookie year like Vince Young did. Maybe him getting hurt helped him a little bit because he didn't win the Rookie of the Year, so he didn't have a big. There's no reason to have a big head.
You noticed that Despin had to mention that.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe it was in the responses. I don't know.
Oh, the good old days.
Ah, the good old days when VY and Jeff Fisher were.
I'm the guy who owns the Tennessee practice jersey that was a Vince Young jersey and then became a Jake Locker jersey and now is just sad.
Oh, jeez.
Not as sad as the Chris Johnson one because actually Chris Johnson did some things.
But I think he did like 2,000 things when he was a Titan.
Rest is not so good. But that's
question. Titans question for you guys. I actually have a ton of exposure to Kendall Wright in NFL 10s.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently stopped drafting him. A friend of mine who's ridiculously good at these NFL 10s, TJ Calkins, he told me, he was like, listen, he was like, you got to, just an observation, just back off Kendall Wright a little bit. And I was like, all right, if you say so, I'm going to back off. But there's something I love about him in the second year with Mariota, healthy, and contract year. I mean, what do you guys think? Am I nuts? Is he not the guy in the Tennessee receiving core to own?
Well, the price on like all Titans have gone down. I mean, Delaney Walker's still pretty highly rated, but I feel like Kendall Wright was like a 9th round pick, and now like in the Scott Fish Bowl draft I did, he was like a 17th round pick. Like he was in that.
He goes undrafted. Yeah, like he'll go. He's fallen to like Kenny Britt territory.
They're talking about him being like the slot receiver, so I don't even know if he's going to be on the field every down. Of course, despite the fact that they drafted a fullback, they never used that fullback, so maybe Kendall Wright's going to be on the field more often. But I know. I see the rolling eyes.
I know
the rolling eyes. I've been married for a while. I know it was rolling eyes. And
I was rolling my eyes at Rustin Webster. That was.
Yeah, they traded down and got like an extra pick when they traded down and got Dorial Green-Beckham. Then they drafted a freaking fullback in the 4th round. Okay.
They averaged, the year before that, they averaged like maybe 6 or 7 snaps per game for their fullback. And they used a 4th round draft pick on a fullback. When you can get a serviceable one as an undrafted free agent, or maybe in the 6th or 7th round. I mean, it was just, I'm so glad Rustin Webster's gone. Ken Wisenhunt and Rustin Webster can't. But to answer your question, I think Kendall Wright is a little risky. He got publicly called out by the coaching staff and has never. He was a first. It's tough to be a first round draft selection with his skill set and what works well for him and really kind of live up to those expectations. But it is a big year for him and for Justin Hunter, and they went out and got Rashard Matthews, and they still have what's his name, and Andre Johnson was at the facility today. So
I heard he visited.
Yeah, he did. He visited. But I think as a value pick, later on in the draft, it's not a bad it's not a bad deal.
Way late.
Yeah, you can get him.
And it just depends, like if you're going to be
rounds.
Like in a Scotty Fishbowl league. I don't know. And here's the thing. I look at Kendall Wright and I think, how would I use Kendall Wright? I would use Kendall Wright how he got used. He's not really been used like that enough, in my opinion. But I would put him in kind of a. Randall Cobb, who's the guy, a guy who can line up.
Type.
Yeah, in a variety of ways, run him some end rounds, hand it off to him. He's a guy that could do a lot of that. I unfortunately, I mean, Kendall Wright is just too. He's a little soft. He needs to toughen up, baby.
Maybe it's the whole. It's weird. Like
I
looking
did
at
laugh at the whole Kendall Wright trips every other snap thing. That was kind of funny.
just looking at his highlights when he got drafted. Like all the passes you see him catch from like RG3 at Baylor were like these long bomb passes. In the NFL, the Titans throw him like 3-yard screen passes, and even that touchdown against Tampa that started the season last year was Mariota's first touchdown. I mean, it was like a 15-yard pass. So he's that short intermediate guy. And what I liked about Mariota is I swear like his first 12 NFL touchdowns went to 12 different guys. So he spreads the ball out, mainly because the Titans receivers kind of suck. They're better this year. Hey, I said something nice, Sharona.
I see that.
He loves Delaney. I mean,
I don't think he's going to focus on any guy.
I made Zach love Delaney.
Delaney might drop down some. Unfortunately, I have to do another name drop. Like Rich Rebar did this whole thing about tight ends, and I drafted 4 tight ends in the first 9 rounds in the Scott Fish Bowl, and every single guy I drafted, he said something like, "Watch out for those guys." And of course, I took Gary Barnidge, and if the whole Josh Gordon is back alive, that was one of the greatest moments of the week because Twitter just went crazy, and maybe we should all talk about that a little bit, like what it was like to hear that Gordon was back, and do you actually believe he's worth whatever draft slot? Because I swear, I was looking at him like in the 18th round of Scott Fish Bowl, and I was like, nah. And now I'm like, damn, that could have been something.
Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, he's going ridiculously high, though. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I heard 6th or 7th round, which seems early because, what was it, 2014? You could tell he wasn't quite in the game, but he was suspended 10 games that year. This year, he's suspended 4 games, but he's going to practice with the team. He's worked with RG3 like that 1 year. He was at Baylor, I think. So it's interesting, but I don't know. What do you think, Jen? You all about the Josh Gordon? You like the hell no?
So this is probably unpopular, but I'm totally in the hell no. I'm not.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Jen.
I think everybody's chasing this one sort of like miraculous season that he had, and I know it was a ton of yards on not so many receptions. I have it up now. It was over 1,600 yards, 87 receptions, 9 touchdowns. I mean, we don't really go crazy over 9 touchdowns when you think about it.
14 games too.
Yeah, which
because he was suspended. Hello.
Crazy pace, but I saw earlier today he's been suspended for like 33 games or something total. I don't care if he's in tip-top shape. You can't train for NFL game speed, and I think we're chasing this miraculous season in terms of yardage rather than anything else. And I mean, for what it's worth, like RG3 hasn't really looked so hot since like his rookie year. So I mean, he's still on the Browns. I'm just not buying into it at all. I always say like the only time I ever really wind up with Josh Gordon is when I wake up with him. When I go to bed and I've had a bottle of wine and I forget to pre-draft, and I wake up in the morning and Josh Gordon's in my inbox, and I'm like, damn it. That's how I feel about Josh Gordon.
No, I'm with you. I've generally tended to avoid too.
Yeah, I mean, not for me.
And receivers just so stupid deep. Like, I know I'm in these Scott Fish Bowl type drafts, so it's not like MFL 10s, but guys like Randall Cobb and Brandon Marshall are going like in the 5th round. Like, receiver is just crazy deep this year. You can get really starters, like Willie Snead from the Saints. I got him like in the 11th round or something. I mean, that's just there's so many guys there, and you're right, the whole quarterback situation. I really think Josh McCown's probably going to start for them and be veteran okay, maybe not Ryan Fitzmagic, cool, but a quarterback of the pulse basically can throw 2 touchdowns a week. So, take that for what you get. Hey, garbage time is time.
I would say if McCown was at some point in the starter, then maybe I'd start almost looking at him, because for whatever reason that old man just seems to kind of make people fantasy relevant. So, but other than that, no. I mean, give me Barnage again. Give me Duke. Really, I mean, Duke is probably the only part of Cleveland I'm really like super interested, and Crowell actually, for that matter. Crowell is one of my highest owned running backs in NFL tens.
Yeah, and he's not. Was he like a double-digit round kind of guy? So
Yeah, I mean, you can
that
you can
works
get
good.
him later for sure, especially with Duke going in like sixth, seventh. But I
What's
kind of trying to look at it like hopefully that's going to be the Bengals backfield. Jeremy Hill and Gio Bernard last year with Hugh Jackson. Just bring that right over to Cleveland with you and make it happen.
so? What's the official MFL 10 tally right now? What are we up to?
So I'll pull it up right now. Completed 70. I have 70 completed. I have a
Wow.
couple going. Yeah, I took half my winnings last year and just left the money in there. So the way I looked at it, my first like 450, not 450, my first 45 were free in my in my eyes. So yeah, I'm at 70. My goal was 100, but I almost feel like I'm running out of time a little bit.
Well, how many did you do last year, and what were your results?
So last year public leagues, I have a hard time pulling up the data for private leagues too, because I was in like the street free agent who we mentioned earlier. I was in his Hello I Love Booze league, and I won that, and it's probably the one I'm like most proud of
Hmm.
because I'm such a fan of his. But of the public leagues, I entered 41, I won 9, and I came in second in 3 of them. And all of a sudden, some of my like Twitter MFL 10 friends at the end of the season were hit me up like, "Oh my God, you profited! Like this was such a bad year for everybody. You did so
Hmm.
good." And I was just kind of like, "I don't know, guys. Maybe beginner's luck. Maybe all that Devontae Freeman in like the 12th round." but
True.
but yeah, it was a good year. I'm obviously hoping for that again this year, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think I had like $50 in there from coming in second in MFL 25, and I gotta remember to do it MFL 25 because I like the ones where you come in second and you actually make money instead of get a free league.
They're great, the 25s. They're great.
So I was gonna do two 25s, but I did like two MFL 10, so I have like $40 left. So I need to get in one, but I don't want it. That's the problem last year is like I would publicize I'm in an MFL 10, and then all like the sharks would come in, like Jen and
It's
her
not true.
ilk coming in trying to feed off the poor souls like me or paying as much attention. I'm like, I kind of just like to jump into the public leagues, but I never get the crazy picks. No,
I
it's
I keep joining leagues. Like I'll get upset if I don't get a top 3 pick because now a top 3 pick is Antonio, Odell, Julio. Like if you want them, you need a top 3 pick.
Yeah.
And I keep finding myself either in the middle or towards the end, which is like I say it's my sweet spot. Like I love like kind of like 7 to 10, 7 to 11, but when I look at like kind of my like ownership exposure, I just don't have enough Antonio, Odell, or Julio, and I'm like, damn, you really do need a top 3 pick to get them. I mean, there's no debate, and they pretty much go 1, 2, 3 in whatever order in every single draft I'm in. So they're like hard to come by. And now you have Le'Veon slipping in the second round, and I'm like, Jesus, what do you do? How do you pass on him in the second? But then how do you take a guy with a 4-game potential suspension? So it's fun. It's fun. It's fun directing on these.
it's funny how things change. Like because the Scott Fish Bowl happened when it did. Josh Gordon's going in the 17th round. Now he's going in the 7th. Le'Veon Bell was like a top 3 pick, especially with running back value, or top 5 pick, and now he's maybe a second rounder. And D'Angelo Williams, who I think I've grabbed him in a couple of leagues, although like Sharona said, I've done a few of those like mocks. I'm like, oh, I'm dreading the MFL, emails. I got to make sure to change my settings on that. But I was excited because King of the Hill, it's like quarter of a point per carry and point PPR. So like 4 running backs went in the first 5 picks, and I got Julio Jones at number 6, and I was like, yes,
That's
he's going to
awesome.
catch all of the passes for the Falcons this year, and maybe they'll even throw it to him in the red zone this year. Who knows? Crazy things have happened.
It's still PPR. I mean, people they see a quarter a carry, and I'm like, all right, well, he still needs to touch the ball 4 times. to get the score that, the other person only needs to touch once. And then Julio, he's the only guy who had over 200 targets last year. That's not changing.
Yeah,
He's
that was like an easy pick because
totally.
I waited on receivers and I went tight end crazy in my Scott Fish Bowl, but I was like, no, I'm taking him. And I did take like Ingram in the second. I took Giovanni Bernard in the fourth, so hoping that Jeremy Hill continues his mediocre ways this year. But it's you try different stuff. Sharona, you there? I see darkness on your side.
I see Frozen actually.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Am I back?
She's drinking her dragon's milk. Watch out. You never know what might happen with the dragon's milk.
The computer's drunk.
You're there. Like, I can hear you.
No, I'm here.
I just can't see you.
I don't know what happened.
So while we're in the darkness, do we transition to over it or nah?
Sure.
Okay, I'm excited about this. This is gonna be fun.
Can you still not see me?
Oh, now
No, you're moving around now. That's
Okay.
cool.
Awesome.
So hashtag over to hashtag nah. Hillary, over the top attack on her or legit?
I don't know how to answer that with an over it or not, but I would say that some of the attacks are definitely strong, powerful women. Taking her politics and whatever aside, strong, powerful women who don't apologize for being so rub some people the wrong way, and I think a lot of the backlash that I see against her is directly related to that.
I feel like people have been hating on her for like 25 years.
Well,
It's been going on for a while.
And it's kind of crazy because, I sit and I watch the narratives and all of that, and I've been critical of Hillary Clinton, and I was watching Bernie Sanders' candidacy with extreme interest, and I like Bernie, and I like that he shook things up, and it was definitely an important movement. But a lot of the narrative around it is just kind of looking for things, because either she's, you talk about how qualified she is, career politician, hack, blah blah blah, whereas if she didn't have those qualifications, she wouldn't be qualified. It's just sometimes it's damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yeah, it's odd. It's like if you had this argument, I'm tired of these prepared NFL quarterbacks. I want someone who's never played the position A before, and he's going to be my starting quarterback next.
It's like,
that's the.
I guess we want somebody.
From the Trump side, it's like, he hasn't done it before. I'm like, that's not good.
I guess we want
somebody. Experience.
We being the people saying that want a guy who has no clue what's in the Constitution. Zero clue. Donald Trump knows nothing about the American Constitution and would legitimately come after you just because he got mad.
Yeah, I'm a little bit like, I know Twitter isn't, hasn't been the same, but I don't remember like Obama and Romney going after each other on Twitter like a couple of like teenagers, the way the Hillary and Donald like Twitter accounts. And I actually think the Donald Trump account might be run by him, but Hillary, it's obviously some intern. But it's funny that they're like going after each other like it's some, I don't know, like they're running for class president in middle school sometimes. But in a way, it's like, well, this is the game, you got to play it. But it's got to be. I wondered, your experience here, because this is the first woman who's been nominated to be president.
Yeah.
And it was a sort of a big deal when the first African American was nominated 8 years ago, and I feel like Hillary might have taken it if they hadn't like basically taken away like the Florida primary that she might have won.
There were deals made.
She felt like she was like gonna get this, and now she's waited.
Well,
I've waited my turn. I've been the interim coach. Yeah. I'm on the side.
She was, and that's I don't want to sound jaded or whatever, but I was intimately involved in the political process for many years and saw how the sausage was made. So none of this really comes as any surprise to me. And there were deals and promises made back when Barack Obama was an unknown. And because there were divisions within the Democratic Party, it became him. But there were promises made at that point, and Hillary was a good soldier. You can say whatever you want to about Hillary Clinton, but she was a very good soldier about that whole entire thing, and I think that's in large part responsible for why the Obamas are so committed, and rightfully so, committed to helping her, because she did the right thing. She did the right thing.
Yeah, there's something to be said for loyalty, and while, like you said, the whole Bernie thing was a great kind of movement. It got people excited. Bernie's been running as an independent for I don't know
Yes.
how long, and he like
Yes.
jumped on the Democratic thing, and it's like basically you said F you to the Democrats for years, and now you're like, I can't.
And he did it
You
for the
cannot
money.
be elected
No,
if you're
he
not. You
did
don't
it
have a
for.
D or an R next to your name. You cannot be elected. That's how it works right
Well,
now.
I mean, he couldn't get the
So he
money.
got in, and he got really close. But you know what? The votes were on Hillary's side, and it wasn't like 2 percentage points. It was a pretty big
Overwhelming.
plurality.
Yeah.
Plurality. It's just that the people on the Bernie side are very excited. It's like,
Mhm.
hey, Cleveland Browns fans are very excited, but you know what? There's still a minority, and yeah, Jen's like drinking big time now. It's a good time
Sorry,
for
Jen.
political
I'm
talks. Yeah,
listening. I gotta be honest with you. I'm listening because
I got one for you shortly. Trust me.
politics is so not my thing. Not my thing to talk about, I should say. So I love kind of hearing it all. And for the record, I can't tell the difference between Bernie and Larry David. So.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Good
I
point.
hadn't thought about that, but yeah.
I know. I know
I
it
love
sounds.
Bernie. I do. I love Bernie, but
Here's my political affiliations in a nutshell. I feel like if you didn't think politics was like a joke by now, just look around. I mean, you got the guy from The Apprentice, Bill
yeah,
Clinton's wife. I mean, it's a mess, and you can make yourself crazy about it, or you can do what I do, which maybe might not be the best thing, but I just laugh about it. I'm just
yeah,
like, whatever. You people are all crazy. Leave me out of it. just do
yeah.
your thing and leave me out of it.
The seedy side of politics is not pretty. It's not pretty to see the sausage made in any industry,
I mean,
and
you have insider kind of experience. It sounds like I'm personally so kind of weirded out by any grown man or woman who is like, vote for me, I'm the best. It's like,
yeah,
what do you do? What a weird career choice, It's a big
yeah.
popularity contest. It's just all
Yeah,
so
but,
strange.
and you're such a different generation too from her. You know, and I know for some people this is bad, but in a lot of ways, Hillary's been preparing for this her whole life,
Totally, totally.
and she took a back seat to Bill and stood by her man and all of that, and um, you know. I have commented on their relationship, and I really shouldn't. That's between them, and whatever.
I will say this: I like totally bleed red, white, and blue, and even though this is all totally bonkers to me, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'd rather
Yeah.
this badness than
Oh yeah,
than
we
anything
live in the
else.
greatest country in the world,
Totally.
and I'll say this. I don't agree entirely with some of the things that she said and that she's done, but I entirely believe that she is the most qualified candidate and that she will do a good job as president. And I'm literally terrified about the thought of Donald Trump as our president. Terrified.
You know what I think would be awesome if it didn't have to be. I mean, Trump obviously. I mean, he's a joke. I mean, he's a real estate tycoon who
See,
didn't
I think
really.
he's more than a joke, Jana. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I really think he's a legitimate threat to this country. I do.
Oh, I mean, if he's president,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, totally. But like, I feel like in a perfect world, you nominate one of each. You nominate a
Yeah.
Democrat and a Republican, and when it's like serious shit, you lock them in a room together, and it's like, all right, don't come out until you figure it out,
Yeah.
and then come out and let us know what we're gonna do here, you
I mean,
know.
it just shows how off the rails the Republican Party has become. And there were decent Republican candidates who, but it's become the party of the crazies.
Like, I don't know. I don't know about the decent side. Like, Ted Cruz was like their backup option,
Oh,
and
that
he
guy's
was
so
like,
weird.
Yeah,
look at the
not
the
any
He's
of
people
so
those.
thought
weird.
he was the
Not
what
any of
was
those
it, the
guys.
serial killer, and also possibly not a human being.
Yeah,
That's
no, not any of
it's
those guys. But anyway.
things went south. Yeah, and maybe we shouldn't have the reverence for the position, but it does seem like that's not the case right now. So I'm going to give the over it or nah to Jen. Are you sad that you're probably stuck with Chris Christie, who is the bargain basement Tony Soprano?
I'm not, and this is going to be so unpopular because there's people in my life I love who are teachers and police officers, and he has been nothing but terrible to them. But here's my thing with kind of living in this part of the country, as ridiculous as it might sound. I just kind of want to feel safe, and as ridiculous as he is, because there's nobody more ridiculous than Chris Christie. He does have a track record with being sort of tough on terrorism-related things, and it's kind of priority number one for me in all things. So I'm pissed he screwed over the cops. I'm even more upset, that he hasn't been so nice to the teachers. But and anything else, I just want him to, wake up in the morning. I'm like, all right, I'm in Jersey. It's okay. But I don't know if he'll be back. I really don't. I think he's going to move on, and I think Jersey will be due for some changes. I mean, we were talking about this earlier. We have legal medical marijuana in New Jersey, but it's not even. It's like they legalized it, but they made it absolutely impossible for people to get it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with him. And I'm thinking maybe the hurting arthritic old people in New Jersey, with the next whoever comes in, might be able to live a little differently. I mean, we have our problems, but Jersey Jen, I mean, I love living here.
Yeah, they need you on that wall. They want you on that wall in Jersey. Christie was kind of a Jersey kind of character, but I swear, like, he attached himself to Trump's side, and it seemed like he wanted to get that VP slot.
It was so
and they
funny.
decided to give it to the robot from Indiana, who's awful as well. It was weird. Like, both vice presidential candidates, I was like, where's the bump in either of these guys? Nothing. And hey, look, another two white guys, right? Sharona? Woohoo, white guys. Sorry.
White guy, woo!
Just for a second. It's about time white guys got a shot. Okay.
Like I said, I'm not like big on the politics, but I feel like he would blow off this whole governor of New Jersey thing for attorney general. So we'll see.
Oh gosh, I don't even want to think about the cabinet appointments.
Yeah, just not.
we have to bail. We have to like bail out. We have to hit the eject. So, okay, over it or nah, Sharona.
Yes.
Peyton being cleared of HGH allegations.
Nah.
How perfect.
Well, look.
Your favorite player. Sorry.
Yeah. I have given you the impression that I dislike Peyton. I do not dislike Peyton. I think that there was an incident a long time ago that we're still struggling to deal with, and the narrative surrounding that concerns me. And he's not in the same sentence as Tim Duncan, and I stand by that. But having said all of that, and I think Al Jazeera does such great work in so many areas, but that particular report was not up to their standards and quality, and they stood by it even when it started to fall apart. And Zach and I had a conversation about this, and I do think that Peyton has political aspirations, and which is part of the reason why he's been the way he has been about some of the allegations against him. And I can understand that. I mean, part of me can understand that. I don't like the victim blaming, but part of me can understand that. And he did the right thing by cooperating and letting the NFL do its investigation. And he can walk away and say he did it the right way, for the most part.
Well, I think when it comes down to any human being, there's going to be something about them you don't like. And, of course, Peyton's got that one big skeleton in his closet from the history, back in the Tennessee days. But overall, he's like politician funny, and like for a politician, you don't have to be like stand-up comedian funny, but if you can tell a joke, you're good. See Peyton Manning's like Saturday Night Live appearance, that was good stuff.
It was great. By the Peyton's Saturday Night Live is some of the best for an athlete.
Peyton's a pretty funny guy and a very dry man, and so I was watching my Twitter feed while all three of us were chatting, and Donald Trump Jr. tweeted out a picture of him and Peyton. Peyton didn't look too thrilled to be in it, but and he's got star power, and so we'll see.
We'll see.
He'd be a pretty good, I guess, part of the NFLPA. I feel like almost,
Yeah.
They're gonna have to renegotiate eventually, and I am personally terrified of a lockout after all this stuff with Brady and everything else. And I wonder if Peyton could kind of bridge the gap a little bit, because Goodell loves him, obviously, and I think people in general kind of love him. I'm sure the players have utmost respect for the sheriff. I wonder if he'd be a really good sort of fit for the NFLPA.
Well, here's the thing, and I agree. I think that he's going to do something. He's already said he doesn't want to coach, and that I had said all along I didn't think that he would be doing that. He will do something, either politically or maybe he'll be the next NFL commissioner, or
Imagine.
What have you. But in regard to the CBA, I will caution everybody and remind everybody that, and I know it's a problem. Something needs to be done, but the players are going to have to give up something in order to get something. And my question to you and to everybody else is, what do you think the players will be willing to give up to get that change in the disciplinary procedure? And I would remind everybody that Roger Goodell has had that through 2 CBA negotiations now, and so it's not as easy as people want to think it is. They're going to have to give something up. Are they going to give up their piece of the pie, or what are they going to give up?
Sure, it'll be money or time. Will they give up their money, or will they report to camp earlier?
Will there be an 18-game season?
18-game season, have
oh gosh, yeah.
Have the league more involved in what they do.
This is not an easy answer.
It's a wild union, but you know what? They make enough money where figure it out. That's collective bargaining. You have to negotiate and figure it out. And I wonder if a guy like Peyton could kind of be the level head.
Possibly. Everybody wanted to talk about the chummy relation, and I don't remember the guy's name, the dude who passed away and who was the longtime head before DeMaurice Smith took over. Everybody talked about the chummy relationship, but you know what? It led ultimately to free agency, and the players are doing pretty damn well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Although, boy, did they grouse when you start seeing those NBA contracts, which are insane, and definitely the baseball contracts, because
it makes my
the baseball
head hurt
union,
when you compare.
it's hard to compare, but baseball gets guaranteed deals, and the NFL, when you see a contract, you're like, well, how much money is guaranteed? And
You
then it's
wait
like,
on it, yeah.
what does
Totally.
guaranteed mean? Because it's like guaranteed, then there's like guaranteed for injury, and even the contract. Who's the guy for the Broncos? Like, he still didn't get like what a major league pitcher gets for like 3 years. So it's no one's getting quarterback money but quarterbacks and like two defensive guys.
And Von Miller, I was just gonna
Yeah,
say.
Von Miller, that's the one because he got a pretty good deal.
Really good
But
deal.
you
Really
don't
good.
get that kind of deal, and you're not get the guaranteed money. And I don't know, it's a tough thing because like the players go through a lot, but if you get that money guaranteed and then you like have an injury, you're done, and the team has to do something with you. So I mean, I think it's good that they're upping. They seem to be upping the amount that guys get that's guaranteed, which is good. And veterans have a certain amount of money they get, and it's like once you get past that rookie contract, if you're still in the league, you're going to get paid. So that's a good thing. Now I was gonna, since we've already passed like way past the hour. Hi Don, by the way.
Hi Don.
If you're still listening, Don's vacation's ending. It's so weird. Like I have all these teachers in the family, and my friend Don's a teacher, and it's like it's still July. You're starting like school
Shout out
next
to
week.
teachers.
It's like yes, you're starting school like in a week or two. You don't get 3 months summer vacation now. It's like 2 months at most. But I'm gonna be in Nashville starting tomorrow night actually.
I'm
And
jealous that you guys are meeting up. That's awesome.
the wife's gonna be
Listen, you
busy,
got to meet
so I'll be
Allison
around.
before me. I haven't forgotten that.
That is true. You got to try
Allison's
fun with her.
awesome. She's awesome.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
That's the only problem.
I'm
Like when
giddy.
people meet Allison, it's like, oh, she's way cooler than me. Well, duh, but
But yeah,
maybe
I
I'm
mean, you
maybe
meet
I'm
Zach,
close.
you're
I'm
like,
like
oh, hey,
80%.
it's Zach. And then you meet Allison, you're like, oh my God, it's Allison.
I'm
I'll have
excited.
to save that part and send it to her. But yeah, I'm gonna be in Nashville, and like during the season when I go, especially now as a contractor, like I don't have vacation time, so I have to like go home after a game. I don't get to stay for a night, so we're gonna be in Nashville for like 3 nights. So it's cool to get to hang out with my parents, not during football season. But Sharona and I will be at the opener against the Vikings.
Yes.
Us and Josh Ducaster will be there covering
Yes,
the
That's
Vikings.
awesome. That's
Very
really
excited.
awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure who of the Titans or the local fantasy football crew I'll be able to meet up with, but hey, if I had to meet up with Sharona, that'd be all good. Because
Hey, that's all that
I'm
matters.
trying to remember the
baby.
last time we met up. It's been a
It's
while.
been a while.
I feel like it's last like
I almost crashed your house, about a year ago?
it was like March or something. It was like basketball was going on, and we just did a little beer run.
You guys should try to squeeze in like a live show or something.
Well,
How
see,
cool would
that's
that
what
be?
I can't
How
think.
cool would that be?
If
It
we
would have been
record a
cool,
deal.
and that's what I was like. Zach he'll suggest this. Jody Smith and I had a little conversation last night about some things related to training camp, and he was like, "You guys should totally do like a live show together and have your laptops." I'm like, "I know that would be so cool."
Good, and Jody's awesome, and what an
I
awesome
love
idea by
Jody.
Jody.
Yeah.
What a great guy. I mean, if I
He's
could
such
just
a great
for
guy.
a second, what an awesome
he
guy.
did a beer, like he sent me beers from like Houston. He sent me like a St. Arnold's Pumpkinator, but he didn't send me a beer. He sent me like 3 years worth of the beer. So I was glad that my first beer send
He's so
I
awesome.
sent him some Atlanta beers, and all but one made it through. So that was kind of cool.
I've
And
always
yeah,
kind
I
of
feel
said
like I have a
about him-
cousin in Houston, and like some year I'm going to come down to watch Texans Titans, and it would be cool to do a little Houston meetup because there's some people down there. It'd be like
I would die to
go
meet
hang.
Jody. I would totally die to meet Jody. He's awesome, and I always say about him, he's like as much as he writes is as much as he kind of supports everybody else. He's such like a cheerleader for everybody. He's
Mhm.
awesome. Jody's awesome.
He really is. We've got a great fantasy football community.
Totally. I saw you guys had Sigmund Bloom on like a couple weeks ago
Yeah.
too. I mean, how cool was that?
Yeah,
How cool
he's
is that?
awesome.
Yeah, that was really awesome.
Yeah, just talked to him for an hour. It's like, yeah, that time goes by so quick.
Yeah.
But our time, I mean, we done like an hour and 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I'm
Jen,
yapping.
you gotta tell everybody like what's happening. You know, where can people find you? They can hear you talk. And this draft, I want to know all about this.
Yes, so you can totally catch me on Twitter, obviously. FF Degenerate with a J. The NFL 10 lobby, I'm really trying to kick them up over these next couple weeks because the season's starting. And content on Football Diehards at all times. The magazines, there was, I guess, 4 magazines that came out this year through the Fantasy Sports publications. You can catch me in there as well. And this draft is Saturday, August 6th. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on Sirius. So if you want to tune in and shoot me a message and help me out with my draft picks, I'm going to be going against some serious heavy hitters. So I could definitely use your help.
I think you got this.
Hope
so,
so.
Sharona, what's happening with you? The writing and the talking and all that?
Yeah, Talk is back, and we're doing 2 shows this week. Sat down with Bob Lung last night and did an interview with him. Talked about his fantastic book. I can't recommend it enough. So we're going to do a giveaway in the morning. In fact, I may start that here in a minute. Send out a question.
Is that the consistency book?
Yes.
Is that the one? 'Cause
yes.
I think I actually won a copy of that because I was on top of my Scott Fishbowl. I drafted my picks really quick, so I won a quick drafting award. So I need to actually check that out because I'm
very interesting. It's fascinating.
I want to read as much stuff as I can this year because I need to catch up.
So anyway, and I did an interview Saturday morning with a Dallas police officer. Sunday morning, I'm sorry. That I don't even know what happened. We recorded. It was such a great conversation, and we went 40 minutes or something like that. But my app, for whatever reason, it kept saying it was recording, but only recorded 5 minutes. So I'm hoping to redo that and get that for Friday's show. But tomorrow's going to be fantasy football with Bob, which is such a great conversation. And we'll talk about the elections and all of that stuff. And hopefully soon I'll be regularly writing for Inside the Pylon. And, of course, I need to start up all my other stuff, too, writing for PPI and NFL Female and all of that. So, yeah, busy.
It's cranking up. We're only I think 5 or 6 weeks away from college football.
Yeah.
So that's good times. And I actually did post a blog I think this morning. Alan Sepinwall, who's a TV commentator, wrote a book. The Revolution was televised about a bunch of TV shows and included Oz, which Jen and I talked about on our show a while back. So I did a review of that, and it was kind of it started as a review of the book, and then it was my own recollection of the shows, because he talked about 12 important shows that happened between kind of the 90s and including Mad Men and stuff like that. And that was a lot of fun. And I'm in the middle of my King of the Hill draft, and hopefully I'll be posting on that. I've actually been doing, as Sharona gives me the side eye, doing some Facebook Live videos. I did one on the Scott Fishbowl, and I did one on the King of the Hill last night. And you can only do it, at least I can only do it on my phone. So it's I put my phone on my monitor, and it just go to town. And last night I was probably 3/4 of the way into a wine bottle, so I'm sure it was some good stuff. But yeah, I'll keep doing that as time permits. But this weekend, Nashville, and possibly it depends on Sharona's availability. But there is a Saturday Open Titans practice if we want to just totally wilt in the sun. We can watch Mariota. We can watch trick shot Alex Tanney probably throw a lot of passes to guys you've never heard of.
Matt Castle.
I just love that Alex Tanney trick shot quarterbacks. I feel like he's in year 12 of not making a roster. So that's always good. But Jen, it's good to have you back on.
Yes, thank you, Jen.
Are you kidding? Thanks for having me.
Everybody we have on, we're get on the regular rotation, but Jen, yeah, we met Jen in person. She's been on the show. Jen is awesome.
I'm a fan. Yeah, I'm totally.
I need to meet Jen. I haven't met Jen yet.
Come up this way anytime, Sharona.
I'm
telling you, maybe both of us need to go up to New Jersey for an NFL Sunday. NFL Sunday at Jen's house.
Yep.
Totally come by anytime.
Nobody's
We
getting up
gotta
early
do
on Monday.
that.
It would be epic, as they say.
Could
So
be.
thanks for being on the show. Zach_Law on Twitter, really, because I like to focus on other people because I don't talk about nothing. So thanks everybody for listening, watching, and yeah, this is what happened. And
I
as we
still
like to
got a
say
little
at
bit
the
left.
end, kiss my grit.